Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are once again back in the car, which means we have seen yet another film. The film that we picked this week was not necessarily a new film. It technically came out last week, but we just kind of decided that, you know what, it deserves an honest review, and why not have a little bit of closure for something that's literally drained 10 years out of our lives. We're talking about the death of the DCEU, but not in podcast form this time. We're talking about the literal final nail in the coffin, Aquaman 2, The Last Kingdom. And with that, DJ, what did you think about this film on a scale of 1 to 10?
5.5.
Okay, why?
So, I actually gave the Flash a higher rating because that one at least had stakes. I think the big thing about this film and why I give it a lower score specifically is because it's a mess. It feels like they didn't finish it. And we can get deeper into spoilers, but it doesn't feel like a complete film. It's missing a lot. It's jumpy, messy. The pacing is weird, and I had fun. Like, I enjoyed the film overall, but mostly because it's kind of bad and silly, not because it's actually good. And because my expectations were so low that it beat them.
That's fair, yeah.
Not because it actually was a really good film. It's just a mess. I'll have to get into spoilers to rip it apart more, but yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it. It's just a mess.
That's fair. Personally, I give it a 5. Not because it's worse than The Flash. Like, the longer that we're away from The Flash, the more I would adjust the score that we had given The Flash initially. This film is better done, I think, than The Flash, but that doesn't necessarily excuse it, because like you said, it's got some editing issues. It has some story plot issues, and it can be a little too tropey at times. It's clear that the actors, while they were doing like half of their scenes, were aware of the fact that this film is the end of the DCEU, and they weren't planning on finishing it on a high note. They were just planning on finishing it whatever the cost. The cost being $200 million.
The acting felt like they knew it was the end of the line. Like, some of them just didn't care anymore, you can tell. And some of them did. Actually, some of the strongest acting came from, like, weird sources. Like, one of the side characters' acting was great. I was like, well, he had, like, more oomph than anyone else in the movie. I'm like, where is the villain actually, like, felt like he actually was there, but no one else really did.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, so I give it a 5 overall. I mean, it's not awful, but it's not necessarily, like, great. It's one of the weaker, I think, of the DCEU, which is saying something, because the DCEU has had a lot of really weak entries.
Yeah. I would just add one more to compare it to Flash specifically, because that was the last big one that we watched on the channel specifically. Is that the CGI in Flash was bad, but that was pretty much the worst part of that film.
Yeah.
Especially at the end, the CGI was really, really bad, and it was kind of insult to injury. But the actual film was fun. Like, and the plot follows Flashpoint, not well, like, perfectly, but it takes its own spin of it. It's pretty decent. This one, I don't really know what the point of the film was actually supposed to be, because it doesn't really do a good job of picking to anything. It's just messy.
This really feels like they shot it one way, and then they realized that the DCEU was dead, so they're not setting up a third one. And it feels like it wraps it up a little bit abruptly in order to make sure that there isn't any possibility of another film coming out.
Yeah.
So I think that that's part of the issue.
It also feels like it could have been a setup to, like, another group film.
Yeah.
Like some of the Marvel ones have done, where this villain could have been, like, putting together the League of Villains kind of thing, but they just kind of unsanctimoniously sniff it out. So, yeah.
So overall, though, I think that it's not really worth the trip to the theaters. I hate to say it. Well, I actually don't, because I think that Warner Brothers should just eat the cost of releasing this after how much they have botched the end of the DCEU. So,
or if they'd have waited to announce the end of it till after this film or something. Why you announced it a year or more before this film came out? I don't know what they're doing.
It would have been nice if also they just ended it on a different Justice League film.
Well, especially since the first Aquaman I actually enjoyed a lot. Yeah. It's also a little messy, but I enjoyed it. It feels sad to just kind of wreck the sequel to a film I actually enjoyed because they're done.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, just it's not really worth the theater experience. Obviously, this is probably the best way to see the film is in the theater, but it's just not worth going out and paying for it. Wait until it comes out on Netflix, because I'm sure they'll drop it on Netflix the moment they can.
Probably.
So, with that, before we get into spoilers, we hope that you are enjoying these reviews and you enjoy our videos. If you do and you want to have these weekly reviews, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We drop these things every weekend. We go to the movie theater, we get into the car, and then we give you just our honest thoughts at the end of the movie. So these are fresh. We are not paid. We do this as a service because we want to make sure that you guys have honest reviews. Otherwise, we also do things with bad films, good films, classic films, and all sorts of different entertainment topics on the channel. So be sure to subscribe. If you like this video, drop a like. Let us know in the comments what your thoughts were about Aquaman, the DCEU in general, or just give us some feedback. We're always open to feedback, comments, and criticism. So with that, spoilers. I cannot believe that in the climax of the film, Aquaman enters the public sphere in a grand entrance to the UN, and he joins forces with none other than Captain Cold, Red Tornado, and Greta Thunberg. And together they combine to show the true meaning of this film, the launch of Captain Planet.
Okay. My biggest gripe about this film is it's mankind is wrecking the surface or world due to global warming, and we need to stop it. But we actually used to do it worse, and we barely learned our lesson. But we're gonna learn nothing from the past. There are so many plot holes in this film that bother. They've literally wrapped it up so wrong as, well, we just erased that history because it was bad.
Yeah.
The two major reasons that this even happens, and the first film of going against the surface world, and the council still wants to do it, is we're not going to go up there and work with them. We're going to go kill them as soon as they take it too far. But literally, us in our past were even worse at one point. And rather than learn from that, we just hid it away and pretended like it never happened, allowing it to happen again. Okay, mistakes are made, but nobody learns anything.
Yeah.
Nothing is learned in this film from anybody of the past, except for Arthur gets what he wanted in the first place. Was he wanted to reveal himself to the surface, and he gets that. But nobody, there's no justice or any kind of redemption where he gets to go up and say, hey, look, see, we made mistakes too. We need to learn from this. It just skips right to the end of him going to the UN, getting what he wanted, but not him showing how he was able to convince the council or anything. I know it's kind of rushing to the end, but it's very anticlimactic. They have this big bad that they ramp up, and he unceremoniously takes him out.
Twice, technically. He throws it and then he catches it. It's okay, so it's actually going to be a fight. And then
he throws
3
the
seconds
second
later,
he throws the second one.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Do something with that. No, he unceremoniously takes him out, and then the film just basically ends. Pretty much. Then goes to the UN thing, and I was like, yeah, what? Okay. Yeah. And all this build up in the movie to this moment, and it just gets thrown away. And the villain sounded interesting. It's like undersea Sauron.
Yeah.
He's got these towers and green energy, and he's got like zombies,
and
it's really interesting, and they don't
unfathomable horrors,
and they don't do anything with it.
Yeah,
it just kind of ends. It's like they ran out of time. We're like, we gotta get this movie over now, and they just stopped. I don't know. It built up so strong, and they just went, and we're done.
Well, the other thing is that this film really just, I don't know, is Aquaman 2 really the film that you want to just put the flag in the sand and make yet another climate change bad movie? Like, we get it.
It didn't make any sense to what was going on, because they're like, we're already destroying, and he's like, and they keep saying nothing, like they keep writing that point home, nothing we weren't doing already, we just sped up the process. Like, oh, come on, just so you're basically making it sound like what the bad guy did wasn't even that big a deal. Like, yeah, we were already doing it, so who cares?
The Earth is so bad because we can't take care of the climate and blah 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 blah, and it's literally like, why is Aquaman 2 climate change the film? Like, people go into movies to escape like realities and stuff like that. This is just an odd film that preach the climate message. And then the other thing too is, I hate when films do this. They preach a message that doesn't belong in the film genre, and then they don't offer solutions.
Yes,
I hate it when they do that. Barbie had the same issue for me. Remember Barbie? Like, they decided in the middle of this like of this comedy film to literally have the main human female character complain, and all she did was complain about a whole bunch of things to talk about how awful the world was towards women, and then offered no solutions.
No, it actually broke them out of their patriarchy phase, and they all just take over again and learn nothing from it.
Exactly, and then it just flips over to matriarchy.
But in Barbie, it feels like it's making fun of that. Like, Barbie makes fun of everything. It makes fun of all the ideologies and all the things, and it makes fun of the fact there's no solution, and then everybody's just happy again. And they literally say that in Barbie world, that's the thing. Like, the real world doesn't work that way. Barbie world is like some place where you can just like magically like not feel things, and so it's made fun of. In this film, it does it seriously, and it falls apart because it's bad.
Well, and that's the thing too, is it's just a thing though that like this film does what I didn't like about Barbie worse. Like, that's the thing. It's just like, if you're going to bring up something...
Barbie was fun when it did it. This one like tried to shove it down your throat, but didn't do it in a way that made any sense. Like, hey, you guys are ruining everything. We're just going to come with our technology and we're just going to fix it. Okay, what are we supposed... Literally, it's in the film, the solution is Atlantis brings special technology and fixes everything.
Right.
What the frick am I supposed to do with that information? Well, wait for Atlantis to show themselves and fix the problem? What was that? What was the point?
Well, exactly.
You didn't present a solution that I could come up, that I could do. You presented a real world problem and then fixed it with fictitious science.
Right.
I can't do that. Well, what am I supposed to learn from this message?
No, that's the issue with a lot of these films, is that they decide to get this message across, and because they don't think through any kind of solution, they just decide to fix the problem with something that doesn't exist. Like, even Barbie, can be interpreted as they're making fun of it and they're being sarcastic about it. But at the same time, though, a lot of people heard all of those complaints and were like, yes, this film is going to like help fix the problem, it's going to turn the tide, it does all these, it has a great message, blah blah blah. People literally went to that film and said it has such a great message, but it never offers any solutions. All they did was complain. In this film, all they do is complain to the audience about how awful we as humans are destroying the environment, and then literally goes, guess what though, Atlantis will fix it in the DCEU. We're screwed.
Basically. Basically, that's, yes.
And that bothers me so much.
It reminds me of The Day After Tomorrow. Did you ever see that one?
Right.
Where like everything froze over, and the solution was it just fixed itself.
It was a temporary. Yeah,
it was temporary, and they're like, we learned from this by knowing that we need to do something next time. It was like, well, you didn't really do anything to cause this or fix it. It was a freak accident that happened. There was nothing you could do to affect it.
It wasn't even a freak accident. It was the world like cleansed itself supernaturally.
Yes.
Like that was the thing. Like
it's like Earth was like, we're sick of your crap. Die. Okay, we're back.
Well, it's also a thing of like the day after tomorrow, 2012, and all these different things. They have these messages that's like, oh yeah, we really messed up with the world and stuff like that. But at the same time, they're disaster films.
Yes.
So it literally takes something that we're a little concerned about and turns it into a disaster. And this film is not a disaster film. No. It's a superhero film where we are the bad guys because of climate change, and we would have released this evil anyway, but at least Manta sped it up so that Aquaman could fix it and then bring the Atlanteans to fix the world's ecosystem.
It sounds to me like literally all they're saying in this film is that if the nations of the world just got together and worked together, we'd fix this problem. It's like, that's not how it works. That's not how it ever works. Nobody agrees on anything. That's not... It's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense in this. It's a plot device that doesn't work.
Well, the other thing too is it's just like it's a film that doesn't understand its audience, which is an issue that comics have had this last decade. Is it does not realize its audience. The thing is that it's different though. DC thinks that its audience is apparently world leaders that can make a big change when it comes to climate change. Oh. Whereas Marvel thinks that their biggest fans are the people that they pay to make Twitter posts about them. So it's once again just not realizing who your audience is. What are we supposed to do? You don't offer any solutions. You don't offer anything for us to do, but you hit us over the head for half of this film just being John, you're melting the ice caps and freeing the evil king.
The answer's in there. We have to wait for Atlantis to come and fix it for us.
All right, I'll wait.
We don't have to do anything.
We don't have to.
We just have to wait for Atlantis, John. Just wait for Atlantis to fix it for us.
We have to wait for Atlantis and the UN to come to an agreement.
Yep.
Bringing about the Atlanteans. Oh yeah, it'll never happen. No, the people that will be put in charge of Atlantis will be like Afghanistan, a landlocked country.
That's us. Yeah, that's actually how the UN would work. Because they'd be like, nobody should have the direct authority to work with the Atlanteans. That would be unfair trade. So we need to pick somebody who does an advantage from it. Afghanistan, they're landlocked. They get no advantage. You are now the representatives of the UN to the Atlanteans. Good luck.
All that aside, though, like, spoilers as far as this, like, film is concerned, if you were concerned that Amber Heard was going to crap the bed, she did, but not in the film.
Oh, my gosh.
And for some reason, like, here's the thing that I don't get here. Can I?
Go ahead.
The thing that I don't get is this. Warner Brothers has decided 2023 is the year of the awful human being, great actor. And they literally take Amber Heard and make her the most compassionate, most compelling, most heroic character in this film. Which, I mean, in the comics makes sense and stuff like that. So, like, you have to separate, like, reality from fiction. I understand that. At the same time, though, they laid it on thick.
They did.
And it got to the point where it was almost like, why wasn't she just the main character? Just be like, look, Mara, Amber Heard, she's the best. Aquaman's dead. Long live Amber Heard.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, that was the other big thing I wanted to get into in spoilers that I forgot about, just because we talked about it earlier, was the acting and like how it feels like nobody wants to be here. Like, Jason and the brother like have some good moments with each other, but like it feels stiff, and they feel like they're on a stage the entire time.
Oh, and
like Amber Heard feels like she's literally just there. The mom feels like she's barely there. The one that
mom phoned it in.
Yes, the dad actually was like the most like compelling like actor in the whole. But
because it was a film about brothers.
Yeah,
and he had millions of brothers.
Right. But the person that actually I had the most compelling for was the crab guy.
Oh, he was great.
He was awesome.
But all he had to do was voice act. So he was in the same studio anyway, so they probably just didn't tell him it was Aquaman. They were just like, here, you're this monster crab person, do acting. And he was like, this is a fantastic movie.
I know, he was so good. And I'm like, he's enthused to be here. The rest of you wish you were dead.
Amber Heard had clearly quit acting and was just collecting the paycheck. The brother was clearly just trying to bump his resume, but he was like, I don't care about this film. I just want to show that I'm a decent actor. Same with the villain, Manta. And then Jason Momoa was literally like, y'all a joke. I'm a joke. This film's a joke. Everything's a joke.
He was like a dude bro the whole time, and like he's learned nothing from like any, I don't know. It was just like, yeah, everyone was checked out of this movie.
Yeah.
It just felt phoned in.
Yeah.
And the narration was like 4 characters narrate, and then they had the pacing is a mess. Like they start out with him fighting pirates, but then it's him showing his son. He's narrating. I'm like, oh, he's narrating to his son. That makes sense. And then he narrates the narration while he's narrating to his son. I'm like, that was clever. And then you immediately abandoned that.
Well, and you went over the board, like over the top with it.
Yeah, it was because when he's narrating, I'm like, oh, this is silly. And he's like, oh, he's doing it to his son. That's cute. That's funny. That's silly. And then he narrates on top of it. When that second narration happened, I'm just like, what? And then the doctor narrates.
Yeah.
And then at one point, Manta narrates. And I'm like, pick a lane, people.
No, but seriously, this film literally is the curse of the exposition stick. We've talked about it before, where some films, it literally feels like, here, just, you do the exposition, and then they, like it's relay race, and they hand it off, and it's the next person's job.
Yep.
Literally, Aquaman starts out with the exposition trident, because he's Aquaman, and then he hands off the exposition stick to the doctor, and he becomes Dr. Exposition Stick for the next half of the film. And then he literally hands off his duties as the exposition stick to the literal exposition trident, the black trident that gives you all of the information, which is connected to the exposition sickle 2.0, the Frozen King.
It does feel, okay, this film does feel a lot like Problematic that was from Van Helsing, where it felt exposition-y as all get out. And from people that don't make sense to have that, why are you using this character to exposition? They could have not explained anything until the brother explained it, and it would have been fine.
Oh yeah, no.
Because when the brother explains it, he does it makes there's these cool visuals, and he's describing it like a narration, and it's really cool looking, and it's really engaging. But they tried to exposition it 4 times before that, so by the time it actually happens, it's lost its luster.
Punch.
Yeah, it lost its punch. And so it just feels like, finally we get the exposition, but it's literally the movie was trying to tell us the answer. Like, it was babying us. Hey, here's a little bit. Hey, here's a little bit. Here's some foreshadowing. That's not foreshadowing. Well, you're straight up expositioning and then not completing your sentences.
Well, and here's the other thing, too, that really sucks about it, is, like, literally the trailer for this film shows half of the exposition that's not revealed until 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Yes.
So if you saw the trailer, you already saw the big reveal.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing
that's another problem, is the trailer already gave it away, and they half exposition it 4 times. It's like, we already know. We saw the trailer. Like, I know what's coming. But I'm at this point thinking maybe the trailer was a red herring, like Marvel does. That would be clever. No. Trailer gives it away, and you wait till 3/4 of the movie for it to finally get revealed. And it's supposed to be a big aha moment, but it's like, we already know. We already knew. We knew. And they half explain it 2 other times were enough for you to pick it up, put it together yourself. Yeah, if you have even half a brain, you're like, oh, I know what's going on. They explain who it is and everything too early, and by the time it's finally revealed, everybody already knows and nobody cares anymore. And it loses its punch. And the rest of the film, and then it's from then to the end, it's anticlimactic. They go in to have this. The first film, I know you didn't see it, but the first film has this massive climactic battle where all the 7 kingdoms are fighting each other. The 6 kingdoms are all fighting each other. It's a big war. And it's really, it's silly and it's over the top and it's hilarious, but it's fun and it's big and it's epic. This one looked like it was going to do something similar, but it's to try to avoid being the same movie, they just ended it. Well, you didn't have to end it. You could have just gone a different direction.
Well, yeah.
What would have been really cool, in my opinion, would have been if the guy got up and he throws the trident at him and he catches it, and then he goes to fight him and he just wipes the floor with him and just walks out of there, and that's how the movie ends.
But that would have led into the third film.
And that's what it feels like was the idea. It feels like the plan was he was going to win, and they're like, oh, he can't. DCEU's dead. Kill him.
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's another thing that I had a major issue with, just as we're wrapping this thing up. This film, once again, struggles with what the DCEU did with every single film that they ever did. CGI monster fight.
Yeah.
It's literally CGI fight. The most climactic fight of the entire film is all CGI. Here's the thing that really ticks me off about it, though. The two things that are getting CGI'd are freaking people. Yep. And the fight that they're having is them at equal power in a hand-to-hand combat that could have been done practically. Yep. And has been done practically by a DC property on television.
Black Manta in the first one, even during some of the fights, his suit looked like believable. Yeah. And this one, it looks like a cartoon half the time.
Right.
And I'm like, what is happening? And it makes it look surreal and weird. Uncanny Valley is high in this film.
Yeah.
And it's like 90% of the film is CGI, which is frustrating because they used a ton of practical effects in the first one. It mixed with CGI and it had a great effect. And the final climactic battle is very CGI silly, but it works because the rest of the film wasn't that way. And it's epic. It's fine. And this one, you're right. The final battle is a hand-to-hand combat between Aquaman and Mantis, or Black Manta, and it's CGI.
Gummy people.
It's CGI gummy people. It's not even good. It's bad CGI. And then,
well, no. And here's the other thing.
But the bad guy on the throne was CGI'd really well.
Yeah.
That frustrated me more because I'm like, you spent the entire CGI budget on the guy that dies instantly in a single bout. And you spent none of it on the rest of it up to this point.
Well, and here's the other thing, too, that's, frustrating about this, is you could make the argument, well, they had to CGI it because Manta's hat is ridiculous. He can't fight in that hat. The hat was already damaged beyond its usefulness by the point that they fought. Have him remove the helmet and then have an actual practical CGI fight. Is it really that... Is it that hard? When you literally have done it on television for, over a decade?
I think they just stopped caring. I don't know. They spent a lot of money on this movie to not care, and it's wild to me that they spent $200 million and it looks this bad. It makes me think that they had a plan and they completely reshot the film. They basically probably had some plan with it, and they had, the studio's you can't do this anymore. We're abandoning this. So it doesn't matter if we lose money. We're going to lose more if we let this stand the way that it is. We're going to set it up for a sequel. Money,
but now we're leaving it open to a sequel that we never want to do.
That we're not going to make, and we're just going to piss everybody off. So shore that up, and because what actually would be a bigger travesty for them is if this film did really well, but left it open-ended for more DCEU, because now they have egg on their face. Well, we canceled the DCEU, and we had a good film to end it on. We piss everybody off. So it literally feels like self-sabotage. Burn it to the ground, because if this film does good with the original path that we took, we're going to screw ourselves over. We need to save face. Yeah. And they'd rather lose money on it and it tank than it do well with the original plan. That's what it feels like to me. I don't know if that's true, but just the way that it ends very much makes it feel like they blew this film up on purpose.
It feels like it. And the other thing too is that it's just this film, most of the way through this film, you really come to the very depressing realization that this film really just shouldn't have been made. It didn't need to be made, and you start questioning why it was made.
Because they started making it before they decided to cancel the DCEU.
Well, I understand that, but at the same time, it's like,
Contracts, that's the biggest thing. You contracted the actors, the people, their film has to be produced because these people signed on to it. So you have to make it, you have to put it out there, you put people's names on it, it now has to happen. Well, you have to reimburse everybody.
Well, so did Batgirl. You don't have to reimburse everybody if you cancel a film. It's just canceled. We paid you for your work.
That's not necessarily, well, that's necessarily true. If you got royalties or stuff like that, or your investors, you got to be careful. Like, it depends on what you wrote out in the contract, who you're contracted to, who your executive producers were. But if they want that film made, you got to, like, you promised to make it, you kind of still have to make it. But it does feels an awful lot like they started making this film, decided the DCEU was dead, and everybody involved is like, well, we want our project to be made. We put our names. Think of the actors, for example. We put 1.5 years of our lives to this thing and just going to can it. So all my work's going to go to waste. Yeah. And so they're like, fine, we'll put it out there. We'll just make you look really, really bad. That's what it comes across to me as.
The DCEU is so frustrating. I'm a huge DC fan, and seeing these films and seeing every single one of them be very disappointing.
They tried to be Marvel too quick, and it burned them. And now they're eating it because they're 5 or 6 films in after they already said they're canceling it. Mm-hmm. I think they said they were canceling it after the second Shazam film, which means
before. No,
was it before that
Shazam? So Shazam failed because they killed the DCEU last year, and they got rid of Mark. So.
Oh, well, I know
Black Adam came out. When Black Adam came out, it flopped. They announced that James Gunn was going to take over at the end of last year, in September, after Black Adam.
Black Adam came out before Shazam 2?
Yeah, it came out last year. It flopped really bad, and so they brought on James Gunn. James Gunn announced that he was going to kill the DCEU and start over with the DCU. He announced that about a month and a half before the second Shazam film came out.
Okay.
The second Shazam film came out, it flopped. And Warner Brothers blamed comic book fatigue when it literally was, no, you canceled the universe.
That's why I didn't go to see it, because I'm like, you just burned it all up. I'm like, well, I'm not going to invest any more time in this. But then they kept making them anyway. They made Blue Beetle. They made Flash. They made Aquaman. It's like, I don't know. I'm done. If they're going to keep doing this, it's going to be tough to review these films if they can't keep an eye. If you're going to make an expanded universe and keep it all connected, you need to stick to it, or you need to give up on it. Go back to the old days where they weren't, where they were their own films again. Do something.
Well, and that's the thing too, is it's just like, if you're going to lose money, don't lose face while you're losing money. It would, like I said, it would have been better if Warner Brothers literally went, the DCEU is dead. We're killing it. We're reshooting what we've got if they want to reshoot it as what they got, but they're going to be standalone films. And we're going to wrap every storyline up, and we're going to do it well. The Flash literally flipped the fans off, and then nobody's showing up to Aquaman because we're tired of getting flipped off by Warner Brothers for being fans of their property. And that's the thing that's so frustrating about DC, is that they literally attack their fans, and they're hostile to their fans, and then they wonder why their fans don't want.
Well, Blue Beetle was a good one. I liked that.
No, Blue Beetle was great, and it's in the middle of a mountain of crap.
Yeah, that's the problem. They made it a good film, and it doesn't know where it stands. And the good thing about that one is it doesn't really make it clear if it's in the older universe, so it can survive. This is the old Aquaman, so it's like a send-off to the old property, and like with a middle finger. And it's literally Aquaman walked away from the DCEU. He flung a torch and just lit it on fire with his middle finger up in the air as he walked away. That was like the most unceremonious way to end it, and it's frustrating and obnoxious. They could have just given it a good send-off and been like, yes, this universe is over, but you can think, well, this universe could continue in our minds or in our hearts or whatever. But they just killed it unceremoniously, and it's frustrating, and I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I also like how early on in the film they started creating stock footage for him to be Lobo by having him ride around on a motorcycle for no reason for a good 3-4 minutes. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, a little longer than usual. Just like I said, I'm a huge fan of DC, so it's really frustrating watching these films.
Our DC ones are always going to be long because we keep having to bring up the DCEU because it's relevant every single freaking time.
which sucks.
This is the Marvel ones are the same way. Marvel ones oftentimes will be a little longer because we got to talk about the greater universe that it's connected to. That's part of the thing. You know, it's part of what it is. But Marvel, even their worst films, at least fit into the universe they created.
It's true.
DC stopped trying to do that literally right after Justice League. They kind of stopped trying to make them fit in the same universe.
Well, they were trying to introduce new characters and stuff like that to get away from the stink of the Justice League.
Yeah.
And then they decided to make Black Adam into a hero because Dwayne Johnson literally has it in his contract that he can't lose a fight, even though he's the bad guy, and he's supposed to fight Shazam and lose to him. How do you make that character? How do you make that character work? Tell me.
Don't put Shazam in the movie. That's exactly what they did with that's what Sony did with all of their Spider-Man villains. Don't put Spider-Man in the film. Make him the good guy. Didn't work there either.
We'll be talking about that next month. Mm-hmm. I think we're dropping a thing. No, actually, that's in February. We're dropping a thing in February for
all right, John,
Madam Web. So, anyway. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't, once again, please like, comment, subscribe for more content like this. And we are getting into the new year, so that means more new films, more new topics, and maybe even a couple of new things. Let us know what you would like to see from us in the comments down below. We appreciate you guys. Have a happy new year. This is the end of the year, last review of the year. So, Happy New Year. And we'll see you guys.
On a fun note.
Hopefully 2024 is better, and we will see you there.
Thanks for watching.